want to start off by thanking everyone for being here. We appreciate you coming so that we can get some information out to your viewers and to our public. We're here to discuss preparations and plans for tonight's game, as well as the post-game celebrations, including some road closures that we do have planned. I want to introduce everyone that will be speaking today. We're going to start off with Councilwoman Latrell Joy, City Manager Jarrett Atkinson, Deputy Chief of Operations with Lubbock Fire Rescue, Sean Fogerson, Lubbock Police Chief Gregory Stevens, and then it'll end with Texas Tech Police Chief Kyle Bonath. And if you need those spellings, I'll get that after the press conference. Just come see me.
Good afternoon. We are very excited in the city of Lubbock for the success that Coach Beard, his staff, and the team have had in Minneapolis. As an alum of Texas Tech and a season ticket holder for many, many years, this is something that people have waited for and worked for. During the season, the students at Texas Tech have been kind of the heart and soul. They were there at all the home games. They've been very responsible in their behavior, and they have encouraged this team to move on. I have some suggestions to make that apply both to the events of yesterday or Saturday evening and going forward. For those students who did not act responsibly, I suggest that you call your parents, and I said call, don't text, call them and tell them what you did on Saturday night. And then I think that you might also contact your grandparents if you have the pleasure of having them still, and tell them what you did on Saturday night. And those who acted irresponsibly should probably get out in front, because there is plenty of media to show what you did on Saturday night. And then for tonight and the game, enjoy it wherever you watch it and act responsibly, because if you don't, there will be consequences to that as well. We want everyone to enjoy the game. We want them to enjoy the after activities and have fun, but do so responsibly and take care of our city, for which we are very, very proud. Going into Saturday, we had a plan, and we have a plan for this evening. And at this time, I'm going to introduce to you Jarrett Atkinson, who is the city manager for the city of Lubbock, and let him talk more about the plan.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank all of y'all for being here today. We really appreciate you taking your time to come do this. A lot of what I'll have to say is somewhat repetitive, but I think it bears repeating. This is a tremendous moment for Texas Tech University, for the coach, for his staff, for the team. It's a great moment for the students. It's bigger than that. This is just a huge, huge opportunity for Lubbock, for the entire city, the entire community that supports the university, to really showcase what we are. I am very, very thankful of the efforts of all of the teams that work for the city and the other response agencies, and for what we went through on Saturday evening. As we head into tonight, that team was always planned to grow. It has grown. There are going to be many more entities and agencies that will be working with us tonight. And I want to thank them. I want to thank them for their partnership and for their effort. Their folks are going to be out working tonight rather than being out at one of the various watch parties or events. To kind of wrap up so that you can really get into the experts that have those details to talk to you tonight, you know, we're proud. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the game. Celebrate. Celebrate responsibly. Dangerous, destructive behavior is not going to be tolerated. You'll hear some more about that here in just a moment. With that, I want to thank you again, and I'm going to ask Deputy Chief Sean Fogerson to come up and talk to you about the efforts of LFR, Lubbock Fire Rescue, EMS, and those related items. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Atkinson. I'm Deputy Chief Sean Fogerson with Lubbock Fire Rescue. I'd like to echo those sentiments. We are very proud of the basketball team, and as an alumnus, it's extra special to me. LFR and Lubbock EMS will be staffing extra units for medical calls and fire control tonight, as we had Saturday night. I'd like to point out that unauthorized fires will result in immediate crowd disbursement, and your fire will be extinguished. The party will be cut short. Starting any kind of fire or having any type of fireworks will result in your crowd being dispersed, and there will be a fine up to $500 for fireworks. It would be a real tragedy if someone were to be injured at an event that's supposed to be such a happy time for the Red Raider Nation. And we just want everyone to know we want them to celebrate responsibly, and we will be out patrolling, and we're ready for anything that happens. With that, I'll turn it over to Police Chief Greg Stevens.
I'm Police Chief Greg Stevens, and again, I want to thank everybody for being here. And as a Red Raider myself, as an alumni, I'm extraordinarily proud of our basketball team and Coach Beard, his staff, and these student athletes for this accomplishment. And I want to say how proud I am of all of the Red Raider fans who celebrated responsibly and who had a great time at the game and here in Lubbock and across the nation and rooted on the Red Raiders. Had a good time celebrating and didn't engage in destructive behavior and who didn't sort of soil that great accomplishment by what a few people decided to do. I'll go over a couple of things. I'll talk about some of our plans going into tonight. They're very similar to what we had on Saturday. Some road closures, and then I'll talk about what tonight it will be a little bit, some of the unique things about that. First of all, some of the road closures, and you'll get copies of these. We're going to close down Broadway, again, much like we did last night. We'll close vehicular traffic on Broadway starting at 6 p.m. from University all the way back to Avenue U. We'll have a lot of officers out there in that area. Up and down Broadway, as well as some of the streets around that area. We'll have a lot of officers on University, and we'll close University Avenue beginning at 8:30 p.m. from Glenna Goodacre all the way south to 15th Street. That'll be closed to vehicular traffic. We'll do our best not to interfere with businesses in the area. We want to balance safety between the business owners and their customers, but also balance that with the safety of their workers, their customers, and the property of the businesses. I went personally, along with one of our assistant city managers and the assistant police chiefs today, visited with those business owners, talked to them. They're all very supportive. There's a couple of delivery services. We're going to do our best to get their delivery vehicles in and out so that we don't interrupt that. We want to encourage people to go to those businesses, shop at them. We'll make sure that you can get in and out as well safely, so that everything goes well. About 10 p.m. to around 10:30 p.m. around the time the game ends, we'll begin to restrict pedestrian traffic again, much like we did tonight, so that we can hopefully avoid large crowds and avoid some of the issues that occurred on Saturday night. I want to say that we're not going to tolerate criminal behavior. We're not going to tolerate destructive behavior. One of the biggest questions that we've got, that we had, were why we didn't make arrest on Saturday night on the spot. We did make several. The most important point was to identify some of the people that were in the crowd. And I'll show a few photos, and you'll get some. You'll get these pictures as well. We'll email them to media so that you can see. What we did ahead of time Saturday night, we put a lot of planning into it. We had a lot of resources out. It's often in large crowd situations, it's not safe, nor is it prudent to try to rush in and arrest people in a large crowd. That can create a dangerous situation and get people hurt, often turn the crowd to a very violent and dangerous nature. We, ahead of time, set up the ability to take good photographs and good videos so that we could later on identify people in case they did engage in criminal behavior. And we'll go through some of those videos and some of that evidence so that you'll see, as we've already put out, that in the coming days we will be discussing with the district attorney's office what we'll be charging some of these individuals with, and it's pretty indisputable proof who they are and what they've been engaged in. And we're not going to tolerate that kind of criminal behavior, and we will certainly be able to identify people and press charges. Charges that they'll be facing from Saturday night, and charges that people will face tonight if they engage in similar conduct will be arson at the felony level, criminal mischief at the felony level, and the crime of riot. We have virtually the same plan from Saturday. We have it to a larger scale tonight because we knew tonight would be at a larger scale. And so we have ample resources in place to make arrests if we can do it safely, but we'll also be able to identify people if we have to do that later on and file charges down the road. We want to, what we always do, whether we're talking about traffic enforcement or any other kind of crime, celebrations for these kinds of victories, we want to ask for people's voluntary compliance. We want to ask for people to celebrate lawfully and responsibly. I want to close out with this. Again, what an awesome thing for our city. What an awesome thing for Texas Tech University to have achieved this great victory Saturday, and I'm confident a great victory tonight to become national champions. That's a significant national spotlight for the city of Lubbock and for Texas Tech University, for Coach Beard, for our student athletes. Let's not turn that into something negative at the national level and bring a black eye to our community. So we ask for everybody to please celebrate responsibly, celebrate lawfully, and not let us have to have a repeat, and not let us have to put those resources into action that we've got in place tonight. So I appreciate that, and with that, I'll turn it over to Texas Tech Police Department's Chief Kyle Bona.
Good afternoon. I am Police Chief Kyle Both from Texas Tech University. Tonight we'll be providing security for the campus for the watch party at the United Supermarkets Spirit Arena and also on Memorial Circle. And we have worked with all law enforcement agency and all city officials throughout Saturday and through prior to Saturday and prior to tonight's events. We will be running the Spirit Watch Party at the United Supermarkets Arena. Just like a men's basketball game. All the rules and procedures will be the same. There will be a clear bag policy. It's open to the public. And I would obviously invite anybody that wants to come watch responsibly, as we do at men's basketball games, out. There's not a bad seat in the house. We will be there to keep you safe and secure, just like we do at a men's basketball game. Traffic will run very similar to the men's basketball game. And about halftime, we will be shutting down in conjunction with LPD Memorial Circle, and about at Akron, the Key will be shut down and Memorial Circle will be shut down so we can keep pedestrians after the game and the pedestrians on campus safe. And that's pretty much my comments. Again, congratulations to the team and the coach for their advancement. Thank you.
Before we wrap up,
I'm not sure that it's a lesson learned. I'll tell you that I support and appreciate the decisions made by our commanders. You know, it's a tough decision on when to react and when to go in to break up a large crowd. Certainly when to use chemical agents. And the decision point, of course, was you know, at what point does it come a peaceful celebration to criminal conduct, and certainly to the stage of what would be constituted as a riot or something like that. And so they made that decision when they started to flip over the car, and we tried to be very reserved. Certainly you're going to face criticism if you react too quickly, if you go in and you're too aggressive, but you're going to be criticized if you go too slow. I think they made the right call that whenever that occurred. Unfortunately, what we saw was that it wasn't just the crowd that was originally there. People who'd watched the game in other places began to come in, and the crowd grew extraordinarily quickly and got to a size that simply you weren't able to move that along. So they did an extraordinarily great job, and I can't do anything but applaud the good work of the officers at the front and the commanders behind that, and I was personally there at Broadway and Avenue X and saw everything firsthand. They did an exceptional job, maintained their composure, and the decisions that they made were right. They did a great job of going in at that point, but they simply had to go to a point of just containing it, and they did a really good job of leaving it right where it was at, not letting it go mobile, and then not letting it get bigger, keeping people from getting to it. And as people left, it began to dwindle in size, and when it got to a more manageable size, they were able to go in and then move the crowd out. Again, it would not have been safe to try to arrest the aggressors right then. We have great evidence to know who most of them are or to identify them. There's crime line money for the ones we can't identify. We're working with Texas Tech to identify them, and we'll report those individuals as well to Texas Tech. And so they made great decisions. Again, not necessarily a lesson learned as much as it is there's no need now to wait on that decision. I don't think anyone's going to criticize us that it's overly aggressive to not let a crowd get very big going into tonight. So more than a lesson learned, we're certainly justified at saying tonight, hey, we're not going to let the crowds get that big and wait on that type of egregious criminal behavior. When it becomes an unlawful assembly, blocking a roadway, things like that, we'll probably react a lot quicker. So again, we just want to encourage people, hey, celebrate responsibly. Don't become a crowd that's tearing stuff up and things, and you'll have no problems. We just hope everyone has an enjoyable, safe time.
Somebody does have any video evidence of their property being destroyed that some might have not gotten video evidence of, would you encourage people to come to
Absolutely. Most of the video we've gotten has either been people sending it to us, or I'll just very upfront, stuff that we've pulled off of Twitter, off of your websites, the media's websites. It's perfectly okay and legal for us to do that. And so, but let me tell you, most of the people there are good, decent people. They would come by us and tell us, thank you for being here. We're not a part of that. How can I send the pictures I've got to you? So if someone hasn't and they wish to, you can hit us on social media. You can call us up, and we'd love to see that video. Certainly, if you know the people that we're going to be posting out and you know who they are, there's a crime line reward for that, and you can remain anonymous. $500 is what that reward is.
And just kind of, if it does get out of hand and y'all aren't there to remind the public not to intervene, get evidence, and let y'all handle your own side and try to...
Sure. Yeah, our best advice is if it starts to get out of hand, leave. Go away from it. We're not going to bother you going away. We move in. For these crimes right here, we're still under investigation. We made a handful of arrests for public intoxication, sundry charges like that. But for the crimes I stated, we haven't yet secured those arrest warrants. We're still working on them.
I know we're all hoping for a big win tonight, but if there are peaceful celebrations on Broadway, so just students out in the bars, not doing anything, nothing reckless or anything criminal, will those celebrations be broken up as well?
Not at all. No, we encourage people to celebrate. It's a big deal. It's an awesome thing. I can't wait for Tech to win. You may be hopeful. I'm confident. I can't wait for Texas Tech to pull off a national championship title tonight. And so we want people to celebrate. We want people to have a good time. Just do it responsibly. Do it lawfully. Absolutely. We won't discuss exact numbers like that. We have resources in place. But here's what I will say about that. Same as Saturday night, it doesn't impact our ability to respond to calls around the rest of the city. We have it covered, much like Lubbock Fire. The resources they have, they still have all the firehouses around the city manned just like normal. We have normal operations going. This event is staffed on its own with its own radio channels and everything. So to answer your question, there's no impact on our regular operations. It is. As it was Saturday. All right. Thank you all.
And we will, again, get you the pictures of the map for the closures as well as the timeline for that, and the pictures of the suspects that we want to get out to hopefully identify those individuals. We just want to, again, thank everyone for being here, and we hope that everyone celebrates responsibly tonight.